Chapter 5 The Murder. Page 35. Nearly a year later, in October, the people of London were startled by a terrible crime. It was witnessed by a maidservant who lived alone in a house not far from the river. The maid had gone upstairs to bed around 11 p.m. She was in a dreamy mood, and for a while she sat in her favorite wicker chair, staring out her window. The fog was beginning to settle in, but the lane below was still lit by the full moon. It was a lovely night, she remembered, but not for long. She noticed a handsome elderly gentleman with white hair. He was strolling down the lane. In the moonlight, she could see his kind face and gentle expression. Coming toward him was a small gentleman dressed in black. She did not take much notice of the small man until the two men met right below her window. The older man bowed and spoke in a polite manner. He seemed to be asking directions from the small man. The maid was not trying to hear the words. She was more interested in the old man's face. It shone in the moonlight, and his expression was calm, beautiful, in fact. He had that old-world charm, being at peace with himself and the world. Then her eye wandered to the other man. She was surprised to recognize him as Mr. Hyde. She knew him because he had once visited her master at the home where she worked most weekdays. She had immediately disliked him that day, and now she studied him as he stood below her window. Hyde was carrying a heavy wooden cane. He kept fidgeting with it as if he were nervous. He didn't answer the kind old man's words. Instead, the small man appeared impatient and never looked the old gentleman in the eye. All of a sudden, Hyde began to stomp his feet. He waved his cane in the air like a madman. The older gentleman took a step back in surprise and confusion. Then Hyde's cane came down on the man again and again. The bewildered gentleman fell to his knees and crumpled upon the street. Hyde continued to hit the man with his cane and trample upon his lifeless body. An enraged, evil soul was stamping out the goodness it saw in a kind old man. The horror was too much for the maid, and she fainted.